It's December 2nd, and in the evening, just reflecting on the day, really more the morning. I'm realizing with each day that passes by that MJ's morning messages aren't really resonating anymore. And I think the realization was there. It's been there for a while. And I think there's just this part of me that's like, I don't want to let her go yet. I don't want to let her go. even though the storylines aren't for me anymore. I remember last year how much it was for me. Even the ones that were like, oh, it's just one out of the week. But I feel like it's definitely been more and more consistent now that they're not for me anymore. And so there's this realization of like, oh, I need to let her go, and I don't want to, because I think I mentioned it. She's kind of been like that spiritual parent for me with all of this that's been going on, and the idea of having to let her go just yeah, I don't want to, but I know I need to. I know I need to. And even, I mean, I'm taking her class, and I'm going to take a few more classes, so I know I'm not going to say completely goodbye, but I've mentioned I've been letting go of tarot reading, other tarot readers, just because it's oftentimes like, oh, this energy that's tied to you. I'm just like, no. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I just, I can do my own tarot spread. And clearly I'm getting guidance, right? And I can get the message enough to more or less guide myself. And, which sucks. And I mean, it's great. It doesn't suck. It's good, right? Because that's the whole element of learning to trust yourself and your internal compass. But I kind of liked having someone there, right? I mean, it's, you know what it feels like? It feels like, not that I'm having to break up with someone, but just, it's just the concept of letting go, right? Of it's funny, I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and even though, so sometimes with therapy, depending on your insurance company, right, you only are allotted a certain number of sessions. And so there's this awareness of like, okay, we're not going to dive in deep because you're only allotted a certain number of sessions. We're only going to give you what you need to function, right? And there's this preparation that we're doing of like, for that next phase where they can continue to access support in a different way. So we're already talking about termination, right? And so saying goodbye to MJ is kind of like that process of like, okay, I need to cut the cord in a different way now, right? And so I'm yeah, it just sucks. Because she was like, yeah, my spiritual parent, my spiritual mom, with this whole world, this unknown world for me. That sucks. But it's not like she's completely saying goodbye. She has her YouTube channel, and at any point I can like jump in and, you know, send a comment or listen in. I had my moment in the morning where I just cried about it. Yeah. So that happened. It's happening. I kind of lagged it today. There was a part of me, I was gonna go wash clothes, but I was like, oh, I don't want to. Medio flojera. As much as it's like piling up, I was like, oh, I'll go on Monday. And I decided to just, I had a late start because I slept in, but I went to Dolores Park, and I'm like, I haven't sat out just to look up, just to people watch in a while. It feels like a while. And I know it's gonna get busier, and it's gonna get colder. I mean, I was out there like at 2, but it felt like 5. And so I just sat out, and it was nice. And this time I walked through the scene of the movie Sweet November, the final scene when Keanu Reeves is running after Charlize Theron, and they kind of go underneath that triangle-shaped bridge that crosses actually to Dolores Park. And so I actually walked up the steps, and I saw, and it looks, of course, different in the movies, right? They make it all look pretty and stuff. But I walked through it, and I was just like, if I had gotten there a little earlier, I would have gone up to see where that street takes me through the Castro district. But I just crossed the steps, and I thought, wow, it changed. Because when I watched that movie, the park looks different. But it was cool. It was neat. I was just like, oh, it's cool. Like, this is where they were at many, many moons ago. So that was nice. Yeah. So I've been sitting with that. I've been sitting with the business class, taking that, and preparing to take the other courses too, as I'm building more of my finances. And I mean, it's cool. Like it's definitely getting me to think a lot more. And I think today there was this push and pull of like the idea started to kick in, but then the realization of like, oh, I need to do like the day-to-day stuff is like, ugh, like I'm working on getting better at business stuff. Like it's not my forte. It's not my strongest suit. I don't know how to run a business. I'm working on learning and mastering that. The idea of like the little day-to-day stuff, just like, like, I'm like, no, I don't do it. Like just put me on a whiteboard and have me create all the ideas, and I can do that. I can focus on creating the ideas, but the actual like day-to-day stuff, just this is me being dramatic. So I struggle with the day-to-day stuff, like just so that's what I'm working on, is getting more and more comfortable with the idea that I yeah, I don't know, I guess that's part of owning business. I don't know, never owned a business before, so no, I lied. I mean, there's been like mock ones, little fake ones, I guess, because we never really, it never really stuck long enough for me to like get the gist of it. So I've always had like a flavor of it. But whatever. I'm sure I'll do it. I'll get through it. Just complaining. But it's just funny because then it made me think of the hummingbird. just like chupando all over. And then when you actually see the hummingbird like sitting still, you're like, oh, whoa, right? Like that's how I feel. I feel like I'm just like all over the place with all these ideas, and just the thought of actually sitting down and planning. I struggle with that. So there's that, and then just sitting with Miss Christina finally, she sent me an email, an invite for this event on tomorrow, but I work in the evening, so they're gonna send me a recording after of the event, so I'm excited about that. But I've been sitting with this dream a little bit more. The fact that one, it's in college, and so then comparing it to the other dreams that I've had, because it's still, the theme continues to be about relationships, only now it's in college. And so then I started thinking, am I getting close to graduating? this whole relationship healing stuff that I'm going through, because a lot of the other dreams were in high school. They were high school dreams, or I was in high school, and the experiences that I was having was in high school. And so this is like, I think this is the first one where I'm in college, and there's this awareness that I'm in college. And so I started thinking about that, just like, am I getting close to like being done? Just trying to figure that out, and even sitting with it, and I think it triggered other memories for me about my professors in college, for at least in terms of my own experience, and realizing, I was like, oh dang, like, I mean, I never had anything inappropriate with any of my college professors. For those of you, I guess, who didn't see the previous video, the dream, one of the dreams that I had, or the dream that I had this morning, there's a scene where I'm rolling my eyes because there's like this professor. There's something about a professor, and there's just like this awareness of like, oh, he dates his students, and everyone knows, and it's just like, oh, like that. Like there's this feeling towards this professor. I mean, in my real life, like that never happened. I in the sense of like me knowing of a professor that engaged in something like that. But I know it exists. I know it happens. But it triggered in me that I did have one particular professor who was older, like older. He actually wasn't my professor. He was my boss. I remember working for him, and I was screening for depression in older adults. This is when there was this awareness that there was depression in older adults, and he created this questionnaire. It was a for-profit agency, and so I was one of the callers. And I remember he didn't want to hire me because he thought I was too nice. he's like, you're gonna get chewed by the old man. And I'm like, you can't say that. I literally told him in the interview, I'm like, you don't know that. Why would you say that if you don't know? And he's like, true. And so there was just something that I remember I triggered in him. And yeah, he just thought I was too nice. And but then I ended up being one of the people that I worked with him the closest. I ended up being like literally in like not his complete second hand, but almost, in regards to this particular project, because it was a pilot program, and we were working with an insurance company, and so I was working closely with him, training the assessors, and actually working with the representative from the insurance company, because he was helping us kind of make it bigger. And they were creating an actual, because before there was computer apps or programs, we actually checked off everything on a piece of paper, and then transferred it over to a spreadsheet, and then transferred that data over into like charts and stuff that we could do presentations for. And so we didn't have, back in the day, we were in the process of creating a computer program so that the phone assessors could literally go and click, and then it's submitted into the program, versus this constant paper transference over, which was increasing the human error, right, of calculating all the little tally sheets. And so back in the day, right? so I had graduated from being a phone assessor, bilingual phone assessor, and being actually one of the people that would go out to the field, because this was in Orange County, and so we didn't have a lot of Spanish assessors, so I would go, and nurses. We were working collaboratively with nurse practitioners, and so I remember who we worked with. She was really nice. She was sweet, and so I would go with them to do field visits, and so it was really nice to be able to see my clients who I assessed over the phone, and they were so happy to meet me in person. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so great to actually meet you," and so it was so there was an element of doing outreach with the patients and the clients, and then connecting them to an actual provider. But anyway, so I worked closely with him, because I graduated from being an assessor to one that was training new people, and then working as his right hand in terms of creating this assessment tool, and working with the insurance representative, and like, it was really neat. It was really neat. It was a really cool experience. I was there for a year, and I remember when I was there, I actually got married during my lunch break. I got married during my lunch break, and I mean, this is how, in the sense of like, I went on break. We went to the Orange County Courthouse, got married, had lunch. My mom and his mom were there. They were our witnesses, and then I got back. And then I'm all telling my coworkers, I'm like, "Hey, so I kind of got married," and they're like, "What?" And just shocked that I got married over lunch break. This was in July. So our technically our actual wedding date is July. We got married through the church that December. So I remember telling my boss, and he was upset. He didn't want me to get married. He didn't want me to get married. But I had a crush on him. I actually had a crush on him. And he was older, like older than my dad, older. And I realized then that I was just like, wow, I do I have daddy issues? Because I'm finding myself attracted to older men. And so anyway, so that dream triggered that memory of this boss, who was actually a professor at the school, but I never had him as a professor. He was only my boss. And then it triggered in me this old fire sign, because he's older, like a year older than my dad, older. And but I found him attractive, and then I started thinking about what were the characteristics that attracted me to him, to both of them really. And it was the fact that they were both ambitious. They were both really smart and creative, and just a leader. Just the fact that they were a leader, I found really, really inspiring and attractive and appealing, and yeah. So that's what I was thinking about us. And I don't know if there was just this element of, I mean, I think there was always this element, yeah, I do want to be taken care of, right? Like it'd be nice, right? Because it always felt like I was taking care of everybody else. So for once, it'd be nice to be taken care of, right? Where I don't have to worry about anything. But now, right? I mean, I am working on doing that for myself. Taking care of me. But it was interesting that that's what got triggered. But it's in college, so it's not high school anymore. So I'm hoping that it's a progression, that it's because I'm going through my healing phases or stages. I don't know. That's what I was thinking about. I'm like, oh, it's in college now. It's not. I wonder. I guess we'll see, right? Time will tell if the next few dreams are I'm still in college, and then hopefully it'll move past college and I'll actually be an adult. is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.